WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. As you can see, I'm in Dalmore, Scotland, Highlands, the Quintet. So this is part of a series for travel retail. It says here, travelers exclusive. There's the trio, there's a quartet, and there's a quintet. And one of my super fans actually asked me, Jason, could you possibly buy the bottle, do bottle share with it, and then also a video, of course. And I said, why not? All right, I'm not the biggest fan of Dalmore, but hey, why not? 44.5%. Over here in Germany, I paid €91.50, so this is a $110 bottle. Whiskey base number 170236, non-chilled filtered, yay. Probably coloring. It doesn't say, sorry, it says very, very clearly mit Farbstoff, which means with coloring. And it was bottled here on the 23rd of March, 2020. 5 different types of casks, Quintet. We have muscatel casks. We have Malmsey Madeira casks. 30-year-old matusalem sherry casks. 10-year-old tawny port casks. And Bordeaux Cabernet Sauvignon. So, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare it to something which is only about 15 euros more over here. And this is the Dalmore 18-year-old. This is age statement, no age statement. So this is 43%, this is 44.5%. So I think the comparison's not that off, to be honest. So let's see if I can get everything in the picture here and be able to view it and do it. Good. So Dalmore is a very interesting, pouring and talking, very interesting company. So I'm going to pull out my whiskey Bible here, which is very, very important to me. So the owners are White and McKay. So remember the guy, Richard Patterson, and so on. He throws out the whiskey first and puts in new whiskey afterwards. And that actually belongs to the Emperador Inc. over there in Asia. So the distillery was founded 1893, but it says here, this is actually the interesting thing about Dalmore. Either you have very basic whiskeys or you have ultra premium. So, which would be our, what would it be here? Our 35-year-old, our 40-year-old, our 45-year-old, our vintage port collection, a 60-year-old. That's Dalmore, where you're paying 6 digits for some of these. It's amazing. And on the other hand, it says 10 years ago, the brand wasn't even in the top 30 of single malts in terms of sales volume. In 2019, it had climbed to 16th place with an increase during the decade of no less than a staggering 600%. So somehow, somewhere, somehow, they are now selling 600% more of the Dalmore than they were a decade ago. Well, of course, that makes up the difference between the blends. Dalmore produces much more. I think it's like 4 million liters a year. I closed the book before I should have. Dalmore. So they can produce 4.3 liters, and they hope to produce in 2020 close to 4 million liters. And not all of it goes into single malts. A lot of it, or some of it, goes into blends. So you reduce the amount of blends you produce, and then you have more single malt, which you can actually use to service the demand with. So Dalmore has gone through a great time here of actually pushing this brand forward. We all know the story from King Alexander. If you don't, please watch a video about that, where Dalmore was granted the right to use the royal stag here with the antlers and so on. If you look at the colors of these two, you automatically notice, even here already, that this is a red and this is more of a brown. Even though they both have coloring, the colors of these two are evident, which I think is nice. So you can see this and you can see that. They're very different in the colors. This is more of a tan and this is more of a red almost. Interesting. So the port and the Madeira and the Cabernet Sauvignon actually has a big impact on that, on the coloring, even though it says mit Farbstoff on there on both of these actually. Let's make sure that this also says it, because it is a okay. So it contains fermented natural color. Okay. Country of origin, who knows? All right, very, very good. So it's more about the Quintet. I found it fairly expensive, 91 euros and 50 cents. The nose is actually very, very nice. It's very fruity. If you want a fruity, old oak pledge furniture moment, very, very interesting. Now, I would not be able to pick out the Madeira or the sherry or the port or the Cabernet Sauvignon or the muscatel. It's a potpourri of fruits here. But I do think I'm getting more of the Madeira than I'm anything else. Getting anything else here. So that's very, very nice. All right, going over to the 18-year-old. I paid 100 and I think 5 euros is what I paid for this. Okay, it's a little bit more bitter. It's almost a little bit more like a tobacco type of cigar moment. Wood, old musty wood, which I'm not getting over here. So I prefer the Quintet much more than the 18-year-old, to be very, very honest here. So let's get this here all right and beautiful. All right, let's try those. 44.5, 43%, 18-year-old, no age statement, 105 euros versus 91 euros. Is it a fair challenge? We'll see at the end. All the best. Solange. Mm. 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 Yeah. Oh, okay. It's like, oh wait, there's a little bit of nasty wood in there. Oh wait, it's there. Wow, that's got a very bitter type of wood spoiledness. I'm not sure how to actually define it. It's a little bit of tart. It's a lot of wood. It's like a soggy more type of swamp type of wood. The fruitiness at the beginning is, oh, that's nice, that's nice. Wait a second, there's that, oh, what's that going on? And then you swallow and it's like, and that's what remains here, is that woody sogginess. Oh. All right, let's go to the Dalmore 18. Is it better? As I said, I'm not a big fan of the Dalmores. Get a little bit of a sourness here. Cheers. Much, much more wood estrogens, sucking all that moisture out of my cheeks. Also here, this is not something I must admit that I like. Also here is a tardiness. There's a little bit of lactic acid in there. Also a little bit like a spoiled milk moment. Very slight. I can't say that this is one of my favorites at all. I do remember doing a blind tasting of 6 different 18-year-old single malt whiskeys. There was Glendronach in there, Auchentoshan was in there, Tamdhu, not sure about that. Dalmore was in there, a couple other interesting 18-year-olds. And this didn't actually lose, but it was almost the last place. Not really my cup of tea, to be honest. From the beginning, this is here, blep, and this is here in the middle and goes, it just stays there. It doesn't transition as much. It doesn't change as much as I thought it would. The 43%, why not? Going back to the Quintet, I would like to add a tiny little bit of water to this to see what happens. If it opens up, if it's transitions, if it does anything here special. Good, a little bit more of a sour grape moment now that I did not have before. Sorry, not my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. 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 Towards the end, that woody bitterness. As I mentioned, a little bit of rotten. It's a little bit. It's just worn out casks. I have the theory now. I hope someone from White and Mackay Dalmore can prove me wrong, but they keep on mentioning 30-year-old cherry casks. I don't think that they get new. I'm sorry. I'm 99.5% sure that they do not get new 30-year-old cherry cask each and every time they have a new bottling. So the question is, how often do they use these 30-year-old cherry casks? I'm going to go way above the 4 or 5 time, which is the industry norm. I think they use them dozens of times. So you have a 30-year-old cask that at the very beginning was nice, and then you put in the Quintet, you take it out. And then you put in then something else and you take it out. I think these 30-year-old casks are being used on a monthly basis by different, maybe monthly, maybe weekly, maybe quarterly. I don't know about that, but I think they're being used a lot more often than a normal sherry and or also a normal bourbon barrel would ever be used. I cannot explain how they got their hands on so many matusalem casks for so many different bottlings over so many different years. Yeah, and I really do have the feeling that that matusalem cask, that 30-year-old cherry, influences something in a way, gives it a tartness that I just do not like. What I do have here, and what's going to be my next video, and that's going to be interesting, is I have a Dalmore from a bourbon barrel, which is about 15 years old. And so this is going to be very interesting to see how Dalmore tastes without the sherry influence. Independent bottler, Gordon MacPhail, so that's going to be a little bit of a different thing here. All right, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to give this basically a C minus minus, and value for money for me, it's a D. Not my cup of tea. Over here, not much better. From the very beginning, as I said here, at least it's and it goes down, and here it just remains the same. Also here, it's not really my cup of tea. On a good day, it's a C. Value for money, D. Sorry, Dalmore's and me and WhiskyJason just are not yet in coexistence. They're not my wheelhouse. Even the King Alexander I did not like, which says a lot because almost everyone else loves it. So I guess they're just not on, we're not on the same wavelength here. My question of the day, and I'm going to ask this without using the word King Alexander. What is your favorite Dalmore? So you have to pick something that is not King Alexander. Everyone's going to say that anyways. So what other Dalmore do you like? Please write it in the descriptions. I'd be great to hear from you. Please like, subscribe, tell others. Maybe even share a video or two of mine where I'm more positive about a whiskey. That'd be great. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you very much for subscribing. All the best, WhiskyJason. Ciao.